they are, how do I say? It depends on who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to section B, I'll tell them they are the finest guys. But if I'm talking about section B to section A, they are hooligans. They've been troubling me with lots of questions and all that. So I want you also to trouble me with lots of questions. Let's have lots of interaction. Challenge your professor, learn in the process, and of course, let's understand that it's my job to teach and your job to learn. That being the primary motive behind this exercise. Good. So we did have a long conversation in the previous class. I gave you an idea about what I do. I also gave you an idea of what the classes will look like. I also ran you through the evolution of economy and marketing. I also introduced you to some fine characters who have led the way in structuring economic progress, Adam Smith being one of them. And we did a lot of all this conversation. We also talked about another person called Tiffany Boa, who runs Salesforce. If some of you have used Salesforce, you might appreciate that she's being one of the ones behind it. Okay, I also got to know you all. We did all of this. We ran through this, and I'm also trying to breeze through all this conversation. We did know who this thing is all about, who moved the cheese, but like I told the guys in the previous section, it's too thin a book to read. Don't bother, understand why it was presented and look beyond it. We also told you that marketing is a feedback-based system, which means that always seeking customer opinion, always seeking customer thought. And so that distinguishes us, or that distinguishes marketing and sales. While sales is all about getting rid of inventory, selling the product, making money about it, marketing is understanding what the customer thought and how can I delight the customer. We did all this. We're just running through, making sure that we have an understanding. We did all this. We told that price to consumption is a linear matrix. Price falls, consumption rises. But the very art of tweaking or manipulating that graph is the art of marketing. The good marketing can give you a better price. A good marketing can give you a market share, which is better than your competitor. A bad understanding of the market, however good your product, however low your price is, may not give you the customer that you're looking out for. So this is a book I want you to read. This book comes in various editions with joint authors and all that. So find whatever that says basic of marketing or fundamentals of marketing, pick that book, make that part of your chat message. What is that chat message? Yesterday, 2 videos were shared. Yes, yesterday's 2 videos were shared. We'll talk about it. Brilliant idea. What did you think of those videos? Okay, hang on, but let me finish this. So pick up a book which is basic marketing, and you might get an idea of it. And also pay attention to the slides. The slides are done with you in mind. The slides are, in a sense, most of the slides here are exclusively made for you. But there are also slides in the second half of the class which have come from the publisher. So that's also slides that you will read. We also talked about all kinds of things that happen. people market, why we are so proudly wear a US polo, bigger the horse, the greater the joy kind of t-shirts, and why you don't like the idea of wearing a Ramraj or another kind of a thing. Some people like marketing for what it does. Some people dislike marketing for what it does to you. So that's where we were. Your course, this is probably the slide we were stuck with the last class. So we'll bring up lots of names of companies. We'll also bring up lots of things that we'll discuss. Okay, Philip Kotler is the book that you will read. Philip Kotler is good and doing fine. So you might want to follow him on Twitter. And he's the father of modern marketing. It's quite active even today. And let's appreciate some of the great things that he's been able to contribute to making marketing more of a science than just a pure art form as it was perceived and no longer true. You can, through use of science, use of tools, come out with a better marketing, with a better marketing solution, and obviously better market share and greater profitability. Profitability being the primary objective of most organizations. This is what we are going to be learning. The book that from where I picked this up has index in 688, which means that we're going to be learning 600 pages of information. And so we're going to be choosy about what we are going to learn. The course has been so designed that while it addresses fundamental thoughts on marketing, it also gives you a new age feel. So if you get your basics right, you can answer question outside the box. Obviously, correct. I didn't notice this. Your questions, you can't come back and tell the office of the DSU that a question was asked outside the syllabus. There is no syllabus. So you learn, you visualize, you think, you create, you ideate, and you answer. Right? Any questions so far? No? Good. So I'll pay some attention to subjects here. Other subjects would be taught to you in other terms. But let's call this marketing 101. All this stuff happens to you. I'll take good case studies. One of the things that the university has been encouraging both the professors and the students is that you learn the best of the case studies. And we have exclusive premium access to case studies which are learned at Harvard and other top quality schools. So we bring you the best that we can get access to. So you learn and you also learn from this experience. What gets to be marketed? All these are things that get marketed, goods, services, we discussed that. Places and properties, you have prestige, apartment, prestige builders making a lot of noise all the time. We have Kerala, God's own country, making some organizations, of course, they're always making noise. Information is another thing that happens. And of course, ideas also get to be marketed. Normally, ideas get to be marketed to an investor or even within your own organization. So what happens when all this happens? When markets behave, when markets are dynamic, when market is bubbling, business happens. And the more the money flows, money is supposed to be like water. or more like a river. Uh, the more it flows, the more the economy runs. So nobody wants to have money locked in safe deposits. You bring it out, it generates more money. And the government, of course, is in the center of all this conversation that's happening. The government has its own interests, and rightly so. So it dips into your pocket in everything in the name of taxes. So that's it. There's another version of the same story. We now get into what's called the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is generally a concept that is well understood in some level, probably before the class. And let me understand if any one of you know what is Maslow's pyramid. Does anybody know this? Why am I switching on? Hi. Anybody
Hello.
an idea? Yeah.
Yeah, hello, Shashank here.
Yeah.
I think so. This like the structure defines how human needs are defined. Like first would be like fundamental needs, and then wants, and then like luxury. And I think it's defining how our needs and wants are hierarchically like
Perfect. Very nice. Very
designed.
nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Anybody who doesn't know, and I would be more than happy to see hands raised. That's the whole idea. The more you don't know, the more you're all here. Excellent. Very good. You've been logged in from another device. Your polling session is inactive. Okay. I don't know what it means. Okay. So Ashwini and Mr. R, who that is. Good, good. So let's talk about, like Shashank says, and Shashank did rightly say so, is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. What is Mark? Why is it called Maslow's? Is there a message there? I need to toggle between. Yeah, Soundarya, very nice. Very nice. Well said. Needs keep on increasing. Why did we say needs? Why didn't you say wants? Maslow's hierarchy of wants would have been nicer, I believe, or Maslow's hierarchy of demands. But why say needs? Needs are different from demands and wants because needs are the basic things that one is looking out for. I'm sure you've heard this much quoted sentence: "The earth has enough for your needs, but definitely not for your desires, greed, and wants, and all that stuff." So Maslow said that if I were to structure a pyramid with the base being solid and also constituting the largest number of people, I would say one thing man wants is psychological comfort. I guess it's very true because a man would want to have food, water, that's the basic thing that we are looking out for: food, water, and a place to rest and a dwelling. So the hierarchy of needs states that this is the first thing that man wants. Everything else comes later. Everything else comes later. Even God comes later. Even religion comes. One thing that one wants is, or like most people who profess philosophy or theology say that uh, religion is best taught to a stomach full. You give them a full of stomach and then explain religion. So that's the fundamental need that we are looking out for. Once a person has food and water, he wants security. He wants to secure the food that he has. He wants to secure. So you would have seen that when you see uh, those brilliant channels like Animal Planet and all that. First is the fight for food, and then when you have captured a nice leg or a portion of the or the deer, the lion or the tiger would go to a corner and protect it. So once we are down from it, what we want is security. We want a sense of saying that my tomorrow is guaranteed. Food and shelter is fine. I mean, do I have to work for it every day? Is my tomorrow guaranteed? Am I in a job where I get up in the morning and say, is my job going to be there or not? Am I in that sense of uh, lack of security? Or does my office assure me that, listen, you're taken care, you're secure here. We will take care of you. That's a comfort that you're seeking for. Once you've taken care of food and safety, the third thing that you want is love and belonging. Man is a social animal. He wants company. Companionship is very important. And they say that quarantining, the worst of quarantining is being alone. So sense of belonging, sense of love is one thing. And then you have the others which are coming in. That's esteem, a feeling of wearing a better tie, wearing a better suit, wearing a better branded clothes, or driving a better car is to demonstrate to the world around you that I've reached. I'm no longer the Ashwini that you know, or the Shashank, or the Ganesh, or Aishwarya. I have reached places. I feel like a sense of accomplishment. Look at my car. It's a four-wheel drive car. That's what Drupad would want to say. That's a sense of accomplishment. Then, of course, all of this is meaningless, right? Now, most of the Fortune 500 leaders, what do they say? They have a new philosophy. What's their philosophy? Zero to the grave. What does that mean? Zero to the grave means that when I'm hitting the grave, I'll not have any money in my bank. I would give away everything. I would be remembered for better things. It's a sense of achievement. It's probably the ultimate feeling of comfort. So the question that you need to ask yourself, and the question that I need to be asking myself is, where am I on this? Where am I on this particular pyramid? Am I still struggling for my food and water? Most of us aren't. We are taken care. Sense of security, possibly one or two is here because I'm not very sure. And you must be worried. The markets are changing. Technology is coming in. The job that you have is likely to be wiped out in years to come. So are you securing yourself from that point of view? Or maybe you're that odd person who's saying, I have a sense of accomplishment. It's time for me to buy a bigger house, a better car. And hopefully all of you will reach self-actuation and say, let me give back to the society. So this is Maslow's pyramid. And what's Maslow's pyramid seems to be so philosophical in its outlook, doing in a class of marketing? That's because what product am I talking about? Am I selling pav, or am I selling fine wine, or am I selling a two-wheeler, or am I selling an apartment, or am I selling charity show tickets? Depending on what I'm selling, I'm trying to address that particular need of the individual. So that's where this Maslow's pyramid is. Like I did with the section B, I'm also going to give you a counter thought. The counter thought actually also came up with Mr. Maslow. Maslow, years and years later, he told that I apologize to the world for creating this pyramid and for placing things in the wrong position. Actually, I should have put self-actuation in the bottom. He said that had I put self-actuation in the bottom, people would have been more magnanimous. People would be more willing to share. People would be more willing to give away. There would have been less wars. there would not be less sense of want for hold on to what I have. I should have put esteem as the second most important. I feel proud in giving away. I feel I will hold my head high while I give to something else. So love and belonging should have possibly been much more uh, bottom down, because the more we love and belong to one another, there are less wars. So, but anyway, that's a, that's an alternate thought process. I don't want you to learn the alternate thought process. I'm just giving you. But this is Maslow's pyramid. We'll ask you a question on Maslow's pyramid. Obviously, you may be able to answer them now. Now, the guys who've raised the hands, you might want to bring it down, or let me know if you have understood this or you want a further explanation. Done? Are you following? One of you is going to say yes. Who's going to say
Professor.
Yes, yes, sir.
That's good.
Yes, sir.
Good, good. So more you talk, what is it called? The two-way and one-way communication. One-way communication, we don't know what's happening, right? I forgot that protocol. What is that protocol where you have one-way communication? Some IT student can tell me.
That is UDP.
UDP, right? Yeah. So we don't want to have that, right? So good. Now, the needs itself. What are needs? The needs itself are very unique, because it's a human nature. It's human nature. It's a human behavior. It's a human thing that we are not satisfied with what we have. If I have something, I want a better thing. And this very concept of wanting a better thing, demanding a better service, demanding a turnaround time, that the Swiggy should come in 15 minutes, demanding that I have somebody at the call center pick up on the third ring. That is what drives the market. That's what drives the market. It's obvious, right, that rice by itself is, of course, fulfilling a meal, but we want beyond hunger, our desires, our wants. I want to have the best of the rice. I'm willing to pay another 20,000 rupees or 50,000 rupees to have leather seats in my car. But seats are seats. It's that feeling that I'm looking at. So it's the human buying power that is driven by the demands. Okay. Now, needs by themselves are very unique. There are all kinds of needs that hanging around, and remember, is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, not so we are talking about basic thing. So what happens in a communication between a buyer and a seller is a communication of needs. It's a communication of needs. So when somebody walks into a car showroom, he states what he wants. He'll tell you, sir, I want a car to go from home to office. But that's the stated need. Or he might say, actually, I have a two-wheeler, but I want to buy a car because the roads are getting polluted, or the BBMP is not doing a good job, and I need a better cars. So that's the stated need. That stated need is obvious. But to accomplish a sale, to connect with your customer, to be able to get to a process of understanding a customer, you must go beyond the stated need. You need to understand, why does he really want a car? Of course, everybody wants to travel from point A to point B. There are 101 options to go. He can even go by metro and ensure that it's air conditioned and no pollution. But why does he want? The real need that he wants is that he believes that he has moved from a sense of security to a sense of esteem. I believe that this promotion of mine, I deserve a car. So that could be something that he might want to state as the real need why he wants to buy. I want to buy a better car. I want to buy a better, I want to move to a better quality of life. That's a real need that might come up during a conversation. But despite of all these two, the stated and the real needs, there are three other needs. They're very hard to find out. And you find out early, the earlier the sale. What's the unstated need? The unstated need, he will never mention to you. He'll never mention to you that Nagesh wants to buy a car because Deepak Kumar bought a car. Deepak and Nagesh are colleagues. Deepak just bought himself a. So, Deepak, which car do you want to buy for yourself when you go today?
Kia. Let's say example Kia.
Which one you are thinking of?
Kia. Kia.
Kia. Kia. Okay, so Deepak wants to buy a Kia, and Nagesh, his colleague, has heard it. So now he is going to rush. He's not going to buy Kia because that will be copycat. So he will go to NG, right? So Hector. So now, but do you think Nagesh is going to go and tell that guy that I want to buy a car because Deepak bought the car? No, that's the unstated need. But by smart conversation, by smart understanding, it's possible for you to understand what the unstated need of the customer is. And if you get that close to a conversation, the deal is done. The deal is done. You might be happy that you're closing the business. While we understood all this, there's also a delight deal. What did Deepak expect? Deepak, when he went to the Kia showroom, he expected that, oh, I may have to buy the basic version, which comes for 11 lakhs or something. But unfortunately, it doesn't have, like it's mentioned here, it doesn't have a GPS navigation system. But then the guy says, sir, actually, we're pleased to let you know that we have GPS navigation system recently introduced even in our basic version. That's going to delight him. So, or we say, sir, we are throwing you 3 years all spares paid service, or something like that. So that's the delight need. So that will really turn the thing. But can you mute yourself, whoever has not? Then there's something called the secret need. The secret need is so unique to himself. Is that some secret need which will, if you address that secret need, the sale happens. And I was telling this in the previous class, I'll give the same example here, is that if the company can understand the secret need of the customer, they get the sale happening. For example, Axe, Engage, Fog, they are actually addressing the secret need of the customer. What is it saying? What is that secret need? What does Shah Rukh Khan show you in the ad? Or what does Salman Khan show you in the ad? Is that the moment you spray Fog or Axe, what happens? You're surrounded by all your friends. Oh, they all come rushing out to you and hugging. That's the delight that the customer wants. The customer may give a stated need. What is it? I want to buy a perfume. The real need is I sweat a lot with summer. The unstated need is my colleagues are complaining that I'm sweating quite a lot. The delight need is it's available in small packages. But the secret need, which is actually making me excited, is the moment I spray all of it. Oh, I'm like the queen bee here. So that is the kind of needs that we're talking about. I hope you all understood the needs and what they do to us. Any questions on this, or we're good to go? Right? Okay. So this is. Yes, please. Good to go?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. This is just for you to read. I'll not hang on there. We'll also talk about product life cycle. How are we doing on time? Okay, good. Product life cycle. Every product, like a human being, has got a life cycle. Product does well, product has a growth phase, the product has an introduction phase, then the product delight phase is gone. I remember years and years and years back, Colgate had a paste in which two colors would come out of the outlet of the paste. Great, that's great. But then the novelty part of it wears down. There's no more that joy. So then the market matures and the market dies, or the not market, the product dies. You've seen so many products come and go away, right? But understanding a product life cycle, understand is putting through various stages. The four stages are the introduction stage, where the product is being introduced. You tell about the product, what the you're not sure how the product will behave. You're not very sure how would be the response to the product. The second is on the growth phase. That's when you are looking for customer responses. You are looking for a market which is growing. The growth happens. Lots of people are buying your product. There's an excitement about the product. It's happening all around us. We are excited about so many products that are there. And then it matures, and then it kind of decays out there, right? So that is what product life cycles is all about. Now, while product life cycle is very fundamental, there's a better way of looking at product life cycles. What is a better way of looking at product life cycles? If you look at today's world, and I see that a lot of guys are into app designing or making a better product and things like that. So there is what is called the law of diffusion of innovation. What does that mean? Is that there's a better way of looking at the world. The product life cycle is probably an older way of looking at the world. Nowadays, there's so many apps that come. There's so many devices and products that come. Not everyone survives, right? Half of them die. But just because you came up with an app that had 10,000 downloads in the first week, should you be excited about it? Should you say, wow, I've done miracles. I've done 10,000 downloads. Or should you be excited when it does 1 million downloads? What should be the number? What do you have in mind? And if you have X as in your mind, as a comfort feeling, you may want to divide them and look at how the market or the customer psyche is. What is the customer psyche? There are approximately 2.5% of the innovators in the world. What does that mean? These innovators are those who are always trying new things. They are always trying new things. Anything that comes to the market, he'll go and try it. If you get something with a new innovation, I was the first one to run and buy myself an electric toothbrush. But do I use it now? No, sorry, I don't use it because the thrill is gone. So, but just because I went and bought an electric toothbrush, would that mean that the guy who manufactured it is going to be delighted and sure that it's a product is a success? Not necessarily. Innovators are those who are experimenters, who always are willing to try new things. They don't mean much. They don't mean much to companies because they know that they are not the real pulse of the market. However, there are what are known as early adopters. Early adopters are different from innovators. Early adopters don't rush like that. Early adopters think for a while, is that really going to be good? Do you think I should really buy an electric toothbrush? Oh, how does it work? What would it do? How much would it cost me? Oh, I didn't think of all that before I bought it. I just ran and picked it up because I thought that was the greatest thing that happened to my 32 teeth. But no longer. But early adopters are those who do a lot of research. Now, early adopters are the ones which are pampered by the companies because they know that early adopters do two things. One is they evaluate, and most importantly, they influence. What does that mean? That means that somebody like Geeta R, who's sitting out there, may not rush to buy an electric toothbrush just because I, as an innovator, bought it. She'll say, "Oh, don't buy just because Ramesh bought it. That's because he's always trying new things. Don't buy it." But Geeta might give a serious opinion if Bharat bought it. Because she'll say, wow, did Bharat buy the electric toothbrush? Then kuch to hoga usme. He's done a thinking process. He may have a reason why he bought it. So early adopters are influencers. Early adopters influence early majority. So it's most likely that Geeta may be among the early majority of the people to buy. Now, the tipping point, as shown here in the graph here, is that point when the scale will tilt from a not so sure product to a success product. Because once you go beyond 13.5 as a number, not necessarily as a cardinal number, but as a number, more or less the product is going to be a hit. More or less the product is going to be a hit. They are early majorities. If you look at some examples, M-Fine, I don't even know how many of you know what's M-Fine. M-Fine is a medical doctor connect company which somebody I know has invested into it. And so I have downloaded that app, but would that mean success? Not sure. Alexa, not many people have it, but lots of people are beginning to like it. So if somebody who's having an Alexa and somebody visits his home, he's likely to be influenced by that person. He'll say, yes, Alexa is really good. I don't have to rush to change the song. It does a lot of things. It tells me where my order is and all that stuff. So that's early adopters. Netflix is, early majority. Most of us are already having Netflix or Amazon Prime or any one such things. The ones who are not happening are not really, we don't think of them very well. They are still adamant. They may not be adapting to technology. It's more like Uber. Everybody has it, more or less. Everybody is been using Uber. I'm sure there are very few people who say, no, I don't like Uber. I'm going to book a taxi to drop me to the airport. Things like that. Very few. Okay. So they're the late majority. Of course, there are always in any graph, there are laggards, those who believe that, example, I never go to the ATM. I want to go to the bank and draw my money, or I don't use Google Pay. Yeah, there could be elderly people who could be something like that. Okay. So this is what the law of diffusion is, and there's more explanation to it in this slide. I'm done on this. If any questions, let me know. Else we are moving into the next part of the conversation. Right?
Hello, sir. This is Shashank. When you explain this law of diffusion, so it depends. Like, is it applicable for any product that's coming into market, or so? Or do we already consider like a similar product which is in any of these phases and then approach how to market the product?
No, this is the law of diffusion says that the law of diffusion is different from the product life cycle because you see it from a product point of view. Whereas the law of diffusion sees it from a customer point of view.
Okay, understood.
What is am I happy if I sold 100,000 products? Or am I happy if there's 100,000 downloads? No. Who are these downloads? Who are doing these downloads? For example, by default, uh, phone pay, Paytm, or I can't think of anything else, but phone pay, Paytm are extremely popular in Bangalore. I was in Chennai a couple of a month back. Chennai, nobody uses these. There are very few people who are willing to accept phone pay and Paytm. I had a tough time. But whereas in Bangalore, virtually the elder guy, the chai guy, everybody is accepting. So can you then assume that the whole market of India is going to be, I'm going to be successful? No, because by default, Bangalore is made up of a majority of early adopters and innovators. Can you sell 100? Can you deploy 100,000 phone pay placards in Bihar? That is where you can then say that I have done it. So don't get carried away just because I have 100,000 downloads. Where are these downloads? Who are these downloads? So that is the point this message is trying to convey.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
Correct? Good. So now,
Professor, this is Chinmay here.
yes,
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Is the reason why we are studying loss of diffusion of innovation under marketing module, is it because there is a different way to approach marketing at different stages of the businesses? Is that the reason why we are studying?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because the world has changed. The world is not what it was. New share. 1 minute. Huh? Yeah. Let me do this and then I'll continue. Yeah, because the world has changed. Just because you want to look at the product from let's say introduction phase, growth phase, that's an old way of looking at things. Because we want to see it a little differently. The consumer mindset has changed, the consumer thought process has changed. So we also have to have look at how the market is defined. So that's the idea. It doesn't mean get rid of the product life cycle theory. It's, again, I'm saying the world has changed. If you must look at the world from a product standpoint, but you must not stop there. You must also look at the world from a consumer standpoint. What's the consumer going to do? How is the consumer going to react? And all of marketing is about what does the consumer think about it. So that's the reason why this is just one model. As you keep going up the semesters, you will get many models for you to get a hang of. Right?
Understood, Professor. Thank you.
Okay, great. So now we are moving into the thing what's called the planning and marketing mix. Now, what is planning and marketing mix? Planning is, of course, there. If you look at this, every company wants to plan something. I'm sure Chinmay has a great idea which he wants to convert it. So what does Chinmay say? Mohan, mute. Okay, so if it's a great idea, what does he think? The idea is great, but why will the customer buy my idea? What joy will I give him? Who is going to buy my idea? Who's going to buy this product? Where should this product be available? How do I manufacture this? What is the message how do I identify who is the message? When should I make this product available? Should 2021 be the good year? I know 2020 was a bad one. When should I introduce? So what is this product all about? Is it all about for me to make money, or is it to get a comfort? So this kind of a thought process is always going on in an organization. Doesn't matter if it is a single man organization or a startup or a multinational conglomerate. They're always thinking similar. That's the business idea. That's the business planning. But that's not our interest for you and me in today's class. In today's class, our interest is marketing planning. How do you plan the product? How do we market the product? The business plan is entire organization. Market plan is specific to what, how do I create the market? Where is the market? How do I enter the market? Where do I seek the market? How do I get a good market share and all those things? So marketing plan has a very unique positioning in any organization. Are you seeing this slide? Right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir, we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
see
yeah.
the slide,
Because
sir.
I was getting some other message, so that's why. It's a chat reaction. Yes. Okay. Okay. So marketing, as you can see, what I've done in this slide is I have positioned the 5 other big departments in an organization like manpower, legal, or HR, design, manufacturing, finance, production, all are looking inward. They're all looking inward. How do I manage my people? How do I produce my product? How do I finance my company? How will my product be designed? It's all about my company, my company. So unfortunately or fortunately, you cannot look, say, how will my product be bought? No, it's not going to work like that. How does the consumer or the customer perceive my product? So how will I know it? Only when I open my eyes, go outside, see what the customer is doing. So marketing is that entity within an organization which is looking outward, which is looking for answers for manpower issues are found inside. Answer for financial issues are found inside. But answers for marketing are only found when you go out to the market and seek a solution. Seek what the customer thinks, seek what the market behaves. Why is it that all of a sudden, and I can't think of something. Why is it that all of a sudden Times of India is not selling as many copies as compared to some other newspaper or something like that? The answer is not at your production level. The answer is finding it out in the outside. So that's the concept of marketing. Now the next slide. The next slide is all about strategic planning. Marketing also is not an overnight activity. The strategic planning involves, when you get into business, what are the resources that I have? What is the market that I foresee? And how will I create an opportunity in that? You see, there are lots of things. Even Amazon or even Uber or even anybody for that matter, they did not make money the very first day they entered the market. They were willing to bleed for some time. They were saying that, okay, India is a great market for me to enter, but I'm going to give myself 5 years to evolve the market. 5 years to make you guys automatically, if you're sitting and doing nothing, I know Shashank and Geeta, they do the same thing. If they're sitting and doing nothing, they'll order from Amazon. So Amazon is now trying to make you addict to the idea of ordering, right? So how do I do that? Do I make money in the very first year? Do I make money in the 10th year? Lots of companies say, I won't even make money. So that is how organizations do a bit of planning. So there are 2 kinds of planning. There is what is called strategic planning. There is a thing called tactical planning. Strategic is, how do I see the market 5 years from now? What should I do to ensure that I'm still in business 5 years from now? Tactical planning is, how do I sell the product today? How do I make sure that the customer buys my product today? So the examples are generals are the ones who are sitting in the army headquarters. They're planning, but they keep on planning and they don't put anybody in the Gadwan region. What will happen? So the planning is done by generals, and the foot soldiers do the actual fight. But then if the foot soldiers do the actual fight, then why need the planners? Well, if you don't plan, the foot soldiers won't know what to do next. So we need, as much as strategy is important in our lives, tactical behavior is also an important coexistence between two entities. And it happens in an organization. I used to have a slide in my previous class in which I say that the only difference between the guy who gives you tea on your table, the office boy, whatever normally his name is. We used to have a guy called Murugesh in our office. So what is the difference between that guy and my CEO? Actually, there's no difference. Only difference is that this tea fellow is only worried about today. His worry is, I don't know what these, I can pick up names like Soundarya, or let me see more names as they come in. Manikantan or whoever, Harish, I don't know, the office boy is saying, I don't know how many meetings they are going to organize. What if I run out of milk? What if I run out of tea powder? But at the end of the day, he's not bothered. I've done my job and taken care. But the CEO is not worried about today. The CEO is least bothered about today. The CEO is least bothered even about tomorrow. He will not even worried about this month, not even worried about this year. He's worried, how will my company be 5 years from later? What should I be doing? He has got deputy managers, vice presidents to worry about year, month, everything. But can I take this organization 5 years from now? Will my organization make any sense 5 years from now? So while that happens, the same thing happens in the marketing. Will my product still be relevant? What changes should I do? What new features should Google Drive introduce? What Google features should WhatsApp introduce to ensure that people don't get carried away to other mediums? So that's the thought process that is happening. Then what do we have? So this is an example of strategy versus tactics. But tactics is only that much. Strategy is like a group hurdle, Indian team hurdle. They plan everything and first ball goes for a 6 and everybody has forgotten what is strategy. It happens all the time. Oh, I planned so much for a customer meeting. I would have created my own FAQs. I would have written down everything nicely. Every question, 25 question, answers for 25 questions. Unfortunately, the moment I walk in, he's going to ask the 26th question. Boom, all my planning is gone. So expect that you get punched the moment you walk in. So that's the point. So now that said, we need to create a marketing plan. But why create a marketing plan? A marketing plan is normally a written document. And what does the marketing plan consist of? What will I be doing? Who will I be selling to? What is the part of our sales process? And yeah, oh my God, I lost the screen. Yeah. Give me a minute. You've been signed out of the other device. Yeah, can you see this marketing plan?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Professor.
Yeah, good,
Yes,
good.
sir.
Sorry. Sometimes I'm not very comfortable full screen. I actually need to know what is my next slide coming. So that's the reason why I do this. So this is what marketing plan is all about. But before we go there, what does the marketing plan involve? The marketing plan involves these things. And I want you to remember this in your head. Written there, E is equal to MC square. That way you should remember this equation or this thing. What does the marketing plan involve? It involves a business mission, a business vision statements. It involves objectives. What does the company want to do in its life? What are the objectives of the company? What challenges does the company foresee? What is the marketing strategy? Where does the company want to go? Imagine if Dayan and Sagar Executive MBA program had a great vision, had a great mission, had great objectives, done a brilliant SWOT analysis, and they started advertising this in front of schools. You're at the wrong target market. So what is the target market are you going? What's your product composition? How do you price your product? Where do you advertise your product? Mohan, mute. Where do you place it? So these are all what we are going to learn in the next couple of, actually, this is what we're going to learn in all the class for the next 16, 18 hours. So it's been a long session, but I think we all deserve a break. And so the best time for me to give you something to play around with. So now don't answer don't type your answers, don't answer. Look at this. Do you know who are the authors? Do you know who are these authors? Possibly yes, possibly no. So let me see if I can get your answers. So this is section A, right? So let me copy and post this on the chat so that you guys can attempt it on the, yes. So I'm going to give you something like 10 minutes to work on this, and then we'll come back and see how many of you got right, how many of you got a few wrong. And then we'll continue our journey. The time is now 12:31. 9 minutes is what we will do. So I'll see you at, sorry, not 12:31, 2:31. I'll see you at 2:40. Any questions still now on what we've discussed? We can address it because I'll be switching the topic. Good. So go ahead, take a shot at it. And I expect every one of you to do it. Remember, I don't mind if you don't do it, but you are the guys who will miss out. So let me pause recording for some time and see you back in 8 to 9 minutes.
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. That's an interruption that you should do it. Thank you. So where was I? So Gopinath went to write the exam, and if most of us we write the exam, and your professor asks you or your teacher asks you, how did you do? He said, do well, or whatever it is. But Gopinath is Gopinath. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in this matrix. So when his school teacher asked him, how did you do it? He said, I did bad. I was a bad exam that I wrote. The reason was, he said, I'm a Kannada, I know to read and write Kannada, and the question was in Hindi. The entire question paper was in Hindi, and my Hindi was pretty bad. So I'm sorry that I couldn't do a good job of it. Now the story could have ended there with Gopinath complaining and his teacher patting him on his back for being truthful. But the teacher was no ordinary teacher. The teacher said, I'm going to take this up. So he wrote back, he wrote to the signing board and say, you guys want to come and open a branch in Karnataka where Kannada is the predominant language, and you conduct an exam in Hindi. Not done. This is not fair. The story could have still been completed there, but the story didn't complete there. So signing board wrote back to him saying, we are extremely sorry for what happened. This was not correct on our part. We are redoing that exam this time. And obviously, sir, we also do the exam in Hindi this time. I mean, in Kannada, and please have your student appear. Maybe I'm adding these lines at no cost or whatever that is. And the rest is history. He is Captain Gopinath. So there you go, being truthful, being nice is something that pays, and you never know. It could give you a fight against all kinds of options that you might encounter or roadblocks. Kishore Biani was a great character. I read about him. It makes very interesting reading, but unfortunately, he's not. He's now known for other things other than what it is. And Sachin is always an inspiration, while I might have my own thoughts and reservations about it. So that's the reason why I thought I'll bring these books for you guys to read. If you want to start reading any of these books, best way to start your reading habit. And the other alternate way is to start reading the books of today. Books by this gentleman called Yuval Noah Harari. He's an Israeli, and he's been writing some great stuff. He is a huge fan following. His books get sold like samosas or hot potatoes or whatever you want to call it. So he's written 3 books. There's actually a 4th one on the way. So brilliant stuff, especially 21 lessons for the 21st century. Scary stuff. It tells you what jobs are going. It will tell you that 30% of the jobs that exist today would become defunct in 5 years or 7 years. 50% in the next 15 years. So half the jobs that you have won't be there. So if you are somebody with 2-3 years experience, make sure you're constantly learning. That's the message it's trying to tell you. And money is actually an extract of all these 3 in a smaller version. So you may want to read that. Anyway, that's the way I thought I'll use the break meaningfully. We've done with marketing mix, and we will look at business mission statement. What is business mission statement? It's what's the motive for me to do business? Why am I doing this business for? Of course, my motive is very clear with my business. My motive is to make money. My motive is to make money the good way or the wrong way. Doesn't matter if I cheat a few people. I want to make money. I want to have fat balances. I want my son, my grandson, my great-great-grandson with enough money. That's wrong. That's okay. What's wrong with that mission statement? But then would that vision statement qualify when viewed from a bigger perspective? No. A business and vision statement is a reflection of the company, is a reflection of what the company proposes. What is the company thinking about? What does it want to do? Well, for example, Tata Steel says at one time their ads used to be, we also make steel. What does that mean? Is that we are philanthropic, we run football clubs, we do a lot of charity, we have a lot of education foundations, we care for the poor, and incidentally, we also manufacture steel. Isn't that an indication of what my mission and goals are? Isn't that better than mine, which said that I want to be rich and want eternity of my generation to be rich? These are business vision statements. A vision and mission statement are so reflective of a company. And when you have a startup, when you start working on it, you spend a lot of time, because a business and vision and mission statements is reflective of your thoughts, is reflective of how big, how magnanimous are your thought processes, how clean is your business intentions. So the value system that you have in your organization, we are a equal opportunity company. I'm sure the word "we are an equal opportunity company" would make Amrita Narasimha joining that company. Or they say, "Oh, we promote, we love guys who have with six packs." So why would the last thing that anybody would want to join? So, what is the guiding values of your organization? What do you care? Do I care for? It's employee first. The very word employee first, I think that's an HCL thought process. Employee first. The whole world says customer first, customer first. No, it's employee first. Our employees, once I delight my employee, my employee would delight the customer. So these are what get reflected in it. They are, you don't have to have the best product, but the very fact that give me a product from Sahara and give me a product from Tata, which one would I buy? Even if the product from Sahara was 15% lower, I might want to do my own part of contribution to the society. Vinit Nair, correct, very good. So these are value systems that come up. And yeah, the business tells you where am I going and what am I doing and all that. So this is for you to read. Okay, probably the best time to tell you this is that, where is it? Okay, look at this slide. This slide has nothing in the bottom there. This is my slide. I created this slide. But look at this slide. This slide has chapter 2, marketing, 7E, Lamb, Daniel. This is a slide that I get from the publisher. So I've used these slides. These slides may also have some notes in the bottom. So I want you to, I've of course bring in my own innovation and thoughts. So I want you to read these slides and make sure that you read some notes. There may be some notes in some of them. So make sure you read those notes. Okay, got it? Then these are guiding values. Then we have, yeah, this is something I might want you to read. I wouldn't want to read through it. So how do I define vision and mission? Vision and mission is defined as, mission is what's wrong with the world? How do I go and fix it? The vision is, what would I do for the world? What would the world look like after I've finished changing it? Like, for example, the government of India has what is called the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. So what is it? He says that I want to see a healthier India or a healthier Indian, say. But that's my vision. That's my vision. How do I get to that vision? By stopping defecation in public, by building up more and more toilets, by encouraging people to have good, healthy habits. So the vision is what I see the world. The mission is how do I get there? The objective would be, okay, this year we're going to build 100,000 toilets, or this year we will educate people, or we'll punish people, whoever is. So these are the objectives to a mission, and the mission leads us to a vision. So I hope you guys are following my conversation. Now let's look at 3 very unique people in this world. Not so very unique. You seem to love them. Elon Musk is the charming guy for all of us now. Jeff Bezos, you are always happy to do business with him, give him more money. And of course, Richard Branson is always a very popular guy. So what are they thinking? What is their objective to life? What is their object, their mission, their vision statements? So Jeff Bezos is saying the earth is dying. I guess maybe 20, 30 years, earth is going to be absolutely unlivable. I don't want my son to live in such polluted places. So earth is dying. We must find an alternate dwelling for mankind. So what shall we do? Let's find Mars as our next dwelling. Let's make Mars our next home. That's my mission. That's my vision. A vision is, or rather my meaning, Elon Musk. Vision is that an alternate, safer, healthier home for man, making Mars livable. That's the motive of Elon Musk. But that's the vision. What is the mission? The mission is to make space travel A, economical, B, more faster, C, more efficient, D, less expensive. So he is getting in that direction. So he's launching more launch vehicles than anything else. He is, how many of us have seen those stage one? It's like the Empire State Building, or maybe that's an exaggeration, or it's a 20-story building falling from outer space and falling on a floating ship and standing erect. That's what he's achieving so that he reuses the mechanism. So there you go. Elon Musk says alternate dwelling for mankind. Jeff Bezos says, brilliant, brother Elon, but I have a different approach to life. I believe that Earth is our home. I'll make Earth livable. So what's polluting this Earth are those factories. So I will move the factories outside of Earth. Crazy. But the crazier the idea, the more you achieve it. The very craziest thought that India could be reached by going westward by Columbus resulted in an economy that we have today, resulted in a new world that we have. That's why it's called the New World. Newfoundlands is what New Zealand or Australia is called. It's because they were the last to be found in a search within Earth. So he says, the ideas may be crazy. The ideas may not be even achievable in one lifetime. It might need somebody else after Elon Musk or after Jeff Bezos to achieve the dream. But that's the dream that one should have one builds an organization. So you feel proud next time when you buy a product from these guys. Richard Branson says, guys, I can't think that far, but I'll promise you a good, nice fun. I'll take you on a space tourism. Sit, your next holiday need not be the cool Orange County, but hop into my aircraft. I'll take you to outer space, give you a one nice trip, 1 night, 2 day in space and come back. That's his vision, to entertain people. So nothing wrong with it. So I hope you guys are able to understand the difference between vision and mission. And here are some vision and mission statements for you to read through. I can either pause now or you guys can always read the. Is this a message? Okay, I think I'm good. Oh, this is related to OB. Okay. So there you go. These are vision and mission statements. There are other Facebook vision statements. Pepsi has a vision statement. You can go through it. But there are vision statements within an organization too. Tata may have a vision statement, but Tata Motors could have their own vision statements. Reliance is into so many business. Reliance Footwear can have their own vision statements. So they may be adhering to a primary vision and the larger vision statement that is there. So that is what it is. So are you all, just a moment. Hello. Yeah. So are you guys following me on the vision and mission? Obviously, there'll be a question or two. So silence is normally considered as yes, but an yes would be appreciated.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. Say that loud. Okay, so marketing objectives. I don't know why it's here. You read it. Yeah, these are all some more examples of great objectives of company. And why do you have marketing objectives are here? What's the time? 3 o'clock, 1:30. I think time for you guys to have a coffee break. I'm going to give you 3 o'clock, 3:10. 3:10 is good enough because we're all working from home. So we'll take a small break and reassemble at, yeah. Okay, so if you look at vision and mission statements of Airtel, they're always changing. They are always changing. The first vision statement of Bharti, who did not even aspire to be a telecom operator, but was just a key phone supplier to BSNL, was that to be a high quality supplier of telecom equipment in India. Now, imagine you look at Bharti today and the vision has not changed, it's still there. It finds funny. Then they said that we want to be a leading telco in India or a leading mobile operator in India. But that is not reflective of its presence today. Today, they want to be the top 5 telcos in the world after having operations in Africa, Maldives, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, I don't know where else. So a vision is always changing. A mission is always changing. So, but the vision is the long journey. The mission is the direction to that path. If you look at Google Map, and then you've decided all of a sudden that you want to go from point A, or let's be precise, maybe you want to go from Banashankari to the other part of the world, which is Electronic City. You look at a Google Map, you will see the vision point. You will see that as the end location. But as you travel along, your objective is to that end location. But that end location has got primary vision. What is that primary mission? Your mission is only one thing, is that how do I cross this board, right? So the vision is to get there. If the vision and mission do not match, then there's a disparity in the whole organization. I hope this gives you an idea, right?
Sure, Professor. Got it.
But the vision may not, for an ordinary man, reflect the vision. For example, like the case of Elon Musk. He says to make new dwelling, to make a new alternate dwelling. But it needs somebody to understand that why this alternate dwelling also means that I should have reusable aircrafts or reusable spacecraft. So if that's why they say that the vision and mission of a company should percolate to the least person in the organization. Every person in the organization should understand the vision and mission statement of a company. If you look at it, every office will have I'm sure the company that you work for, or companies like any company for that matter, they will display our vision and mission statements.
No, absolutely, Professor. I think from what I was trying to understand is, see, we have a vision. To reach the vision, we prepare our mission statements, or we
Correct,
have
correct.
shorter missions.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
can these missions keep changing in order to reach the vision?
Absolutely, absolutely. They're all like they are like the pole stars. They are all roadmaps. They are always roadmaps, and I mean nothing wrong with it. If you have a better technology, obviously, but remember the vision and mission is not the end all. The end all. These are just the broader picture of a story. The broader picture of a story. So you once, but you don't get up in the morning and read the vision and mission statement of your company. Is you might want to be reminded by your boss about the objectives of the company, but the boss may not remind you of the vision and mission. They're kind of impregnated in the greater thought process, right? So I guess I've been able to give you some kind of an answer.
Thank you for that, Professor.
Good, thanks. So now all this is done. Great, good job. Now let's move to SWOT analysis. Now,
Sir, this is Ruth.
go
What
ahead.
if there is no vision or mission statement for an organization? Is it necessary?
Mm,
Because money is the only criteria that I'm looking for. So why would I need to showcase my vision or mission too?
okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. What happens is many a time you may not this. Let's say you own a company, or let's say I own this company, which is primarily mine. Like I began the conversation by saying, but I know what my mission is. I know what my vision is, right? I may not be reflective of it. I really know what my vision is, but I may not reflect that in my communication with my employees, because I believe my employees need not know what is my vision. The employees might want to have a smaller directive by me. What is that smaller directive? This is what you have to do this month. The bigger picture, leave it to me. Why are you bothered about it? Is what maybe, but everybody will have a vision in his mind. I mean, a nicer organization may reflect it. A smaller organization may not say. I'm not saying that a vision and mission is mandated by law, but I'm saying a vision and mission would give the directions that we go. So, for example, I used to work for a company wherein, among many other things, they said, they say that our employees would be paid by the end of the month, and our vendors will not have more than a 60-day outstanding from our side. Those were true. I mean, I remember one particular event when our salaries were not paid on the 30th of the month, or whatever that date was. I was a junior employee. I was called by my boss, and my boss told me that, I'm so sorry, there's been something which has gone there. We are extremely sorry that we did not transfer your salary, this account, but trust us, on the 4th of next month, it's coming to you. My boss got a call from his boss, and then within 48 hours, we had a circular issued by the head of the company saying that we apologize for this mistake. What does that reflect? What does that reflect? It reflects heavily on what the company cares for. How many organizations would come up? They're in the same organizations. When the accounts has to make a payment, I would have to certify that payment, so that it. And if I'm on travel, it doesn't happen. There have been many a time when I have been pulled up by my equivalent in finance, saying that, Ramesh, if you're on travel, authorize somebody else to do it. if I don't have this payment go to the vendor in 60 days, it reflects bad on me. Now, what does that mean to an organization? That means the vendor will do everything else to speed an order. The vendor will take extra care. Like I pick up the phone and said, I need 100 parts of these right now. He knows that this money will come. So that vision and mission is sometimes so embedded in an organization. That's called the culture of an organization. You will start learning what's the culture of an organization. Many a time we don't. There's been a company that I quit because I don't like the culture of that organization. For example, I mean, because you're continuing that discussion and because it's an executive MBA program and it allows us to deviate left, right, and center in our conversation, I might openly tell you that the culture in the northern part of India is so different from the culture in the southern part of India. I'm sure all of you will agree to that effect. In southern part of India, we normally treat our colleagues and our juniors very nicely. I'm generalizing it. I'm not saying that somebody's there. I'm just trying to give you an example. But I had a colleague from the other part of India come in, and something was not there. He was fuming. He even said, "I'm going to slap you if you don't get this work done," to one of the junior guys. And the junior guys started crying because he's not used to this language. So then, the culture comes into existence. And I'm sure one of you will agree with me that each organization has their own culture. Now, the culture doesn't come overnight, right? The culture is how my boss treats me is reflected by how I treat my juniors. My boss is treated by his boss. And what kind of a directive do we have? Between making payment for an overseas travel for the boss and making payment to the employees, what's more important? That's the kind of thing that I'm saying. Okay, long explanation, but I hope you agree with me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. Okay, good. But I truly appreciate all questions that come out because I want you to challenge me. And eventually I need not be right. We can always correct ourselves. So that's the idea, to convey a good message. So now SWOT is something that we have always lived. We even did a SWOT analysis on our resume. And if you sat through an interview, the guy would ask you what's a SWOT and all that. So I'm going to briefly talk about SWOT. But also get into a little details on the later part of it. So SWOT is one way a company starts thinking about itself, right? A SWOT is, what does a company say? What do I do well? I am a beautiful, I'm a company which makes X products brilliantly. People love the product that I make. That's what my company is famous for. Or the best dosas come out from Vidyarthi Bhavan. That's the best part of it. But somehow we don't treat our customers well. That's my weakness. Despite telling my people they are a little more, they're arrogant or something like that. Some very, very basic examples. So every company knows what it's good in. Very few companies also know what they are not good in. Actually, I would even go to the extent of saying lots of owners, lots of managers, lots of senior people don't even know what their company is not good in. How many of the senior management actually try speaking to their own customer care, only to realize what the issue is, right? Not many do that. They assume that I'm treated well. Just because my phone is given a priority doesn't necessarily mean every other customer is treated differently. My phone is given a priority because I own the company. So what is good about the company? What is bad about my company? Or not so bad, actually, what's not good about the company? Actually, I forgot to mention one thing, is that it was called SWOT. But the recent Airtel annual report was not SWOT, it was SCOT. And I liked that very well. I said, the company doesn't accept weakness as weakness. The company says that these weaknesses can be overcome, but they are only challenges. So I also decided from now onwards, I'm not going to call it SWOT, I'm going to call it SCOT. So these are challenges for the company to overcome. Then you have opportunities. I have a great opportunity ahead of me. How does the new market provide me? Is there an opportunity out there? Or what is the threat happening? Do you think there could be another lockdown as a consequences of it? What could be affecting my business? Or do you think there could be a new entrant to the market? Or there could be a new law which would make my product. I remember there was a company called Garware Films. I don't know if you knew that. Garware Films used to make those thin films that we used to stick to our cars and give you those dark screens, window screens. But the government, they were the best product. There was nothing wrong with the company. There was a huge opportunity. The company was doing well. It had a good market share. But from nowhere, there's a rule which came up saying that you cannot tint your glasses. So that's an external threat. So how do I wake up to such challenges? So this is what happens in a SWOT analysis. So these are the strengths. Marketing skills may be my strength. I know how to give me a product, I'll sell it. Or give me a design, I'll make the product. Or give me your technical problems or legal issues, I'll solve it. So these are the services, strengths, and weak that we have. Oh, I'm actually very good in manufacturing the product, but somehow I don't know how to manage my taxes. Or we are consuming more power in our production. So those are our weaknesses. Do I know the weaknesses of my organization? The weaknesses are internal. Strengths are internal. So weaknesses can be managed. I can control my weakness. I have a bad labor force. That's your problem. That's not a government problem. So that's what the strengths and weaknesses are. Opportunities and threats are external. I have a huge market coming up. That's an opportunity. The economy is rising. People are buying. That's a great opportunity for me. Oh, people don't like my product because it's Chinese. That's a social challenge that we have. Oh, we have gone into a legal problem with Amazon. That is Mr. Kishore Biani. That's a legal complication. My business is stuck. So you could have an opportunity which is great, or you could have external threats that might damage your market. All right. So same story for you to read. These are some threats that Microsoft perceived. Rather old slide. So Microsoft believes that their strengths are a huge clientele and their love for the products. Their threats are Google Drive. Their threats are Android devices disrupting the market. True, false, we don't know, but that's what they think. And it's actually not Microsoft thinking, somebody thinking on behalf of Microsoft. This is Apple. And you can't read it. It's fine print, but I'll read it for you. Apple said their weakness is the death of Steve Jobs. And even I thought that Steve Jobs gone, what will happen to Apple? I guess Steve Jobs is gone for over 10 years now, or I don't know, something like that. But Apple is still doing well. Apple is still leading. Apple is still innovative. Apple is still thinking ahead. So that was a weakness they knew and they addressed. So that's what happens in the SWOT analysis that you do. But SWOT is very boring. Everybody talks about SWOT. So let me slightly tweak it. So I'll call it SCORE. SOAR. The same thing. But I want to sound very positive. I don't want to sound pessimistic. I don't want to say weakness. I don't want to say threat. So I'll say strength, opportunity, aspiration, results. It's an optimist view of things that you look at it. So let's replace the word SWOT by SWORD. Gives you a different feel. That's the same thing. Noise is another very off late being used acronym standing for all this that you see. And what else do we have? But yeah, Harshdeep Kaur, you want to say something? No? Okay. So now, but what I want to spend some time is talking about VRIO. Let me go full screen on this so that you guys can see it well. VRIO is a more interesting model. VRIO it looks at the world slightly differently. It looks at the world and says, how valuable am I to the customer? That's more important, not how good my product is. It's more customer centric. It's more customer centric. Does a customer really value my product? Does a customer really care that my Ola is going to come and stand in front of this thing? Does the customer really care that the payment is now made on a payment gateway? What value do I bring to the customer? So that's one way of looking at your product. The second is, how rare is this product? Can everybody, is there a place for another player in the Ola Uber battle? Do you think a third guy can enter there? Is it difficult to imitate? May not be difficult to imitate. Maybe it is difficult to imitate. We don't know. You do an analysis. The third thing is the organization around me? Do I have that in me to expand? Lots of companies don't even expand because they don't have money power. It's possible for somebody like McDonald's to open up 200 outlets overnight. Or why would you want to do it? The example that I gave to these students in the previous section is that imagine a company which for 5 years or 3 years is digging up all over India and laying cables and not earning one single rupee. You know what I'm talking about? They dug all over India for 3 years. They laid their cables. They spent hundreds and hundreds of crores of rupees. And one fine day, they ignited their 4G network. That's Geo. How many companies in the world can put so much of investment and wait for results? That's the kind of model that we are talking about. An organization which can deploy. I might get a license. As a matter of fact, incidentally, as a story to tell you all, we worked with another organization to bid for the same tender that Geo was trying to bid. At that time, it was a tender called BWA, Broadband Wireless Access, or something it was the tender was, which Geo won. Geo was not allowing, it was an e-tender, would not allow anybody to even stand there. They ensured that every circle beyond our expectations, twice more than what we thought would be the bid for the spectrum. So that is the muscle power an organization can bring to you. And that is how you should be able to use this model to do a designing of your product. So are you guys with me on this? Are you following? Any questions? No questions? All good and fine in the war here. Unless mission and vision. Okay, somebody is done. Still, okay, good. So this is the VRIO model. Let's see what do I have in the VR. This is the VRIO model for Starbucks. Everybody can make coffee. That's not a point. But can everybody make coffee, serve coffee the way Starbucks does? Does Starbucks have that unique way in which they treat their employees? You know, Starbucks, how do I say? Tata Starbucks is the first, what is it called? The food industry. Tata Starbucks is the first food and beverages industry to provide a 5-day working environment for their employees. So the barista who's serving the coffee there for you, the person who's picking up the leftover coffee mug, has a 9 to 5, 5-day job. Great. Imagine what the kind of love that these guys may have for the company. And they have this unique way of making you feel comfortable at the place. They allow you to sit there for hours and attend to your mail. So they have the uniqueness, which is very rare to imitate. They source the best coffee. They have some unique, exclusive relationship with the coffee produce. So that is VRIO framework. So there you go is VRIO. Okay. And let's see what's happening here next. As I told you, I like this mode because I know what's my next screen. Now let's get into slightly more detail. So I said external are things that you cannot control, right? What are external things that you cannot control? More of those external things. There is something called pestle. What is pestle? Political. Why did TikTok get banned? Because it was a political issue. So what could you do? People loved TikTok. As a matter of fact, for me, TikTok was the greatest time pass that I would have after a stressful 2 hours of constant working. Just 10 minutes of TikTok. But unfortunately, I don't have the joy now. Because TikTok was somehow very addictive. You keep watching all that nonsense that keeps happening out there, but it entertained you all the same. So external factors could be political. External factors could be economic. The present situation, the present market downturn is the reason why business is not growing. Social, you may be a social pariah. We don't want to touch you. Just the very word China, we don't want to touch you. Or you might be doing very well. New technology can come and overthrow you overnight. Or everything is well, but you are not environmental friendly. So there you go. Everything is good, but you're not legally correct. So Pestel gives you that perspective of looking at things. The other things that we are going to discuss other than Pestel is the cost of acquisition of a customer. What does cost of an acquisition of a customer mean? That every customer who walks in, I have spent some money for that customer to buy my product, to subscribe to my service. DSU spend some money to make sure that you enroll for this program. It could be an ad, it could be a word of mouth conversation, it could be a click on a search engine optimization, or it could be an email, or it could be a visit mailer, whatever it is, there's a certain expense involved. If your cost of acquisition is more than the money that you can make out of that customer, you have a bad model. That's the reason why so many of these guys are failing. Where is Fresh Menu now? Where is, I can't think of those defunct food companies. Can you guys think of a few? Fresh Menu is
Panda.
Yeah, Food Panda and what else? What is that? Whatever, right? So what happened to all of them? Huge hoardings on the way to Electronic City, huge paper ads. Now go back to my version of the curve on innovation. You got excited when the innovators got your products. You got excited when the early adopters bought it. But the early adopters were not able to convince the early majority. So you spent huge advertisements and you spend a lot of money on getting this customer, and this customer is walking away. He downloads your Food Panda app, and for some strange reason, I'll tell you another product. I forget the name. You know, in the initial stages of these apps, somebody did a big mistake, and I want you to do a Google search and probably tell me which this company is later on. What they did was, they said that if you registered on your email, and the first time you register on your email, we're going to give you a free service. Now, that's a fact, and the joke, it's a fact. So what I mean is the real statement of issue is that, so people would log in would create an email called, let's say it was Food Panda, assuming it was Food Panda. I'm again quoting, I don't want Food Panda coming behind me now. So is it, or taking Food Panda for a ride at gmail.com. So I'll create a new email ID and order food. So you get it free. So now, once again, taking Food Panda for a ride at gmail.com. That's your new email ID. So they kept on doing this. And they didn't understand that the email is not a unique thing. That can be infinite number of emails. That's when they said, not going to work. We're going to switch to mobile numbers. So but those are early learning stages. So this is cost of acquisition of customers. Very, very important. So how well is your business model? Small cost of acquisition, and then you have huge business coming out of them. That's the way you want to work. Then you have what is called average revenue per user. It's another number or acronym you should start using, ARPU. What does ARPU stand for? ARPU stands for average revenue per user. That means to say, how much is Shashank billing on his mobile? How much is Ruth billing on her mobile? So Shashank may be a very active user, whereas Ruth may be not be using her phone much. So how much revenue can I get from one user? And which user should I care for? So if Ruth is hardly recharging more than $200, I don't want to have Ruth as a user for Airtel. While Shashank is doing all calls and all that stuff, and he's doing 2,000. So an average revenue per user gives you an idea of who are my potential customers that I want to hold on to. In the big battle between Jio and Airtel, when Jio reduced prices, Airtel too reduced their prices. It became a price war. He reduced, he reduced, he reduced, he reduced. And then Airtel realized we are bleeding. We were doing so well. We are bleeding. And then they realized that why would we want to have people with an ARPU of less than 200 in our customer base? We don't want such customers. Let's get rid of them. We'll not even treat them well. But customers who are an ARPU of 600 or 700 above, we will really love them. So that's why if you are an Airtel customer, you started getting Airtel thanks because they cared for you. They said, you are the right guy. You're the one that I want to work with. We care. You are a potential revenue guy. Or the one who had 200, they say, sorry, you have been downgraded from premium to tin or whatever, or stone. So that is the way that you do an analysis of ARPU. Then we have what is called macro and microeconomics. What is macro and microeconomics, or micro environments, or whatever you want to call it? Some parameters are outside of my control. For example, a big political decision of which is not under my control. It is affecting everybody, every industry, and everybody in the same sector gets affected. But I could have local issues. If my employees are not coming in time, those are micro issues. So I have to look at both the macro environment as well as the micro environment. Micro environment say that my shareholders are not giving me more money to move forward. But that's your local problem. It's not a generalized problem. My customers are not buying my product. That's a generalized problem. The media has a bad opinion about me. That's a generalized problem. So you have macro problems which are global in nature and micro problems which are very specific to your sector or your group or your location or whatever that is. Are you following me? Because I'm now going to be switching to another topic and I want to make sure that you're all with me. Right.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Good. So now let's move to another topic. The other topic is called markets as oceans. Now, every market has competition or has challenges and has a lot of issues. So this smart set of people, they said, let's bring science to markets. So they said, let's split the market into 9 categories and start defining them. So they said we have what is called a red ocean and we have what's called a blue ocean. What is a red ocean? A red ocean is where you have to suffer a lot. That's why, as you can see, the pain point. You as in the company, you as in the manufacturer, you as in the service provider, have to suffer quite a lot. But despite all this suffering, you cannot delight the customer that much. That means the market is already saturated. The market is already full of stuff. And still you want to enter the new market. So let's say I come up with a new brand of salt. There are hundreds of brands of salt. What new can I bring in? And how much pain point do I have to experience to get a market share out of this thing? Whereas a blue ocean is where I experience the least amount of pain, but I give the greatest delight to the customer. That's the best thing that can happen for any company. So for example, the red ocean is like the Geo. There were already 10 mobile operators. The 11th one comes. It's going to be war. There is going to be nuclear war, and there is going to be blood. That's probably the reason why it's red. And people will die, sectors will die, companies will die. That's exactly what happened. Reliance came, there was war, some had to die, some had to merge, some had to settle to a lower market share. So whoever thought that Reliance would be able to lead in such a complex market? But that's Reliance for your information. But blue ocean is nobody's there. All of a sudden, somebody comes up with a phone which has no keyboard. Every other phone has a keyboard. That's it. Delight the customer. Delight the customer with a touch experience. No challengers. Nobody is there. Delight. But then very few products that come out like that. So that's what is a blue ocean. Then you have what is called a luxury spot. What's a luxury spot? The luxury spot is sitting right above red ocean. That means the product is so common, but somebody comes up with something brilliant about the product, which makes the customer's delight very high. Example, there are all watches and then there is Rado. There are all watches and then there is Apple Watch. The product that you're delivering is not going to delight the customer. But the very fact that the components of the product are not going to delight the customer, it's still going to show time. But what's going to delight is the product that you are handing over to him. So that's the luxury spot. Then the sweet spot, of course, is you are happy with one market, you're doing the right thing, you specialize in running nuclear power plants, no competition, not much of business, people are happy with you, not much of competition, sweet spot. I only service nuclear power plants, something like that. That's a sweet spot definition. Oasis is stuck in nowhere. The one and possibly example that I can think of is Amazon is always city-centric in its business. Flipkart is focused on secondary cities. Now, what should Snapdeal do? Or what should Tata Click do? They are stuck. They don't know where to concentrate.
Focus on rural sector.
Yeah, so you're confused. You're confused about the market that you're trying to head. So that's stuck in the middle. Then Volcano, almost a pain point, but you delight the customer. There is Facebook, there is WhatsApp, there is Twitter, there is Instagram. And there's nothing wrong between TikTok and Instagram, all the same. But TikTok comes, they do something very unique. I understand they have an AI, which is brilliant, very sticky AI. So they evolve, they become huge success now. So that's a Volcano. And No Man Island is, you have a good product, but you're in the wrong market. Example is Yulo Cycles. Yulo Cycles, where do you position your Yulo Cycles? They technically should be next to metros. Let's assume that they are not next to metros, but they are next to some other place. You have a great product, but you don't know how, the customer doesn't know where you are, and you don't know, you're reaching the wrong kind of a customer. Green ocean is when you start becoming more efficient. You start becoming more efficient, like Indigo. Indigo turnaround time is 20 minutes, 45 minutes, they ready for the next flight, whereas Air India is going to take 2 hours. So something like that. So these are what it is. I am going to give you guys an exercise that will also keep you occupied and also give me a break. I want you to go ahead and take a shot at this and answer. Open this, and I want to explain to you that there's a small typo in that form. The same question has been repeated 3 times, but what I actually want from you is 3 different oceans to be given as examples. I hope you understand. So take an ocean, define it, and give me a brief explanation. I have said that 3 times. What I mean is, I want you to pick up out of those 9, I'll put this matrix here so that you can understand what am I talking about, and give me your examples of what fits into such an ocean. And I must tell you, in all honestness, that I got some brilliant answers from section 2. So I expect you guys also to be equally good on this subject. So I'm going to give you a solid 14 minutes. That will be 4 plus 10. That's 310. 410. 410 we will reassemble. Right? Recording.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. This is Shashank here.
Yeah. Yeah. That is Shashank there. Correct.
Yeah. So I had a like I wanted to know like in these oceans, where does cryptocurrency fall in? Like I see, like if you have observed regarding cryptocurrency and bitcoins and those crypto digital currencies, Indian government is not taking it so like they're not welcoming it so easily. And like I was wondering, like how do we assess a market of a currency and like something that is open source, and it still carries some sort of value within people, like
No. Hang on. If you are Mr. Cryptocurrency, what market are you in? It's this exercise. We are not positioning cryptocurrency in the market.
okay.
What is the market challenge that cryptocurrency is facing? Are there hundreds of similar products that he is there?
Yes.
Or is he the only one? Or
Okay.
is he the other one? So what is crypto thinking in its mind? This is about the product guy thinking. It's not about what the customer is thinking of the product.
Okay.
Get it? Now, there is one other currency which is like crypto, but I forget the name, but we were involved with it for some time. They specialize in the cryptocurrency for the space sector.
Okay.
That's a sweet spot sector. They're going to be there. They say, buy Bitcoins, do a Bitcoin investment in my IPO or Bitcoin equivalent. I forget that name. Two things will happen. The currency, the cryptocurrency will also go up, and maybe the company that you have invested will also go up. So that's it. So remember, the difference is what the company thinks of the positioning. It's not what the customer thinks of the company.
Okay. Understood, sir. Understood.
Okay, good. So let's move forward. So this is brilliant job done. And then you will need to now get into marketing strategy. You say, what market am I going to? What are the multiple markets? We'll talk all of it a little bit later. But now we'll come to the last of our exercises at 4:15. Okay, product, place, promotion, and price. The 4 P's that we have learned. These are the 4 P's that we will live with for a long time. All of us must know what are your 4 P's if you're in business. What's your product? Where do you sell it? How do you promote your product? How do you price your product? Now, the product is the easiest. It's a physical device. It's a service that you provide. It's a teaching that I give. That's my product, right? How do I brand my product? What value do I bring in to somebody like you, who is somebody like Harshdeep or Kavita is willing to give away 3 hours of her quality time to sit and listen to me. Now, if I'm not interesting, you wouldn't come in the next class. So how do I design my product? And so the product is a very important feature. Normally, in a world that we live in, the product is designed based on inputs. Nobody goes blindly and designs a product and say, I'll find a market. But there are a lot of you IT guys who are doing that. You IT guys who come up and start your own venture, you get some great idea, and then you start a company without even understanding what is 4 P's, what my customer thinks, how do I price my product, how should my product be. They among many things, I also handhold a lot of startups. So the first thing they come is, sir, we'll do this. We'll have 100,000 customers, and then Intel will come and buy us, or Microsoft will come and buy us. Oh, how do you think? So sometimes a product by itself has to be evolved from market, not from your mind. Our babies are the best, most beautiful looking children, but they may not be the most beautiful looking children for the rest of the world. So a product normally has a lot of variation. One product that I find very exciting is the mosquito repellent market. So much of product change keeps on happening in that thing. A simple solution. What is the problem? Mosquitoes in my bedroom. I want to get rid of it. So somebody came up with a tortoise coil. Somebody came up with a tablet which you would plug in. Then they came up with this liquid. Then they said this liquid has got power mode, ultra boost mode. Then somebody came up and said this liquid not only gets rid of the mosquitoes, but it gives you a lavender smell in your room, so you feel great about it. And then now somebody says that the recent product says that my box has got an AI, it's got artificial intelligence, it can count the number of mosquitoes in your room. And if the number of mosquitoes increase, I will instruct the machine to throw out more power. So all the time, even a product goes through a lot of change. And it's inevitable that the product changes because you want to do something. It changes all the time. Like even something like a toothpaste, they come up with so much of small tweaking of the solution. Crystals inside the toothpaste or multicolored toothpaste, or now salt is the big thing. So small product changes always keep happening. If that is true on the product, the place is always a very important thing. Where is the product available? Which place is it available? And how important is that place for our consideration? I gave up this example of drafts for US visa. It's a pretty old story that I want to tell you. In the earlier times, 15, 17, 18 years back, if you wanted to go to the US, either on work or for anything else, you had to go early in the morning, stand for the visa in the line in Chennai. Early in the morning, you would stand there, and then somebody would say, "Are you carrying a draft with you to pay for the visa fee?" And then you realize, "I don't have the draft." Then what do you do at 7 a.m.? Nobody keeps the bank open. And then then you see these peddlers coming in and say, "Sir, do you want a draft?" Of course, I want a draft. The draft for 1,000 rupees is, you pay 2,000, I'll give it to you. So there's nothing unique about the product. The product is still the same. Now, of course, those are gone and not very dated, but because he is at that unique place, you get that extra money that you are able to make because you're at a right place. Then comes promotion. Is that how do you promote your product? Are you promoting at the right place? Are you promoting at the wrong places? Is Dayan and Sagar may have the best executive education program, but if they are going in front of schools and nurseries, Montessori's, and talking about their executive MBA program, there's something wrong. Where do you make your noise? Whom do you tell the message? It's very important. So that is what promotion is. I was thinking of a promotion. I couldn't get some good idea, but I thought of this morning. Is that normally when you travel from Bangalore, or let's say Bombay to Bangalore, you get a boarding pass, but now boarding pass is also history now, or maybe it's still there. So I was just wondering, is that Akbar Travels, which is the travel agency in Bangalore airport, they might come up with a nice promotion idea, is that they could print on the back of the boarding pass a code saying that mention this code and your flight number will give you a 30% discount. So you're promoting your product at a very early stage. You're promoting to the person who's taking the flight in Bombay to Bangalore that don't go for Uber, don't go for Ola, come to Akbar, we'll give you a 30% discount. Some thought process on that. Second is price. Everybody thinks price is the most important thing. If I lower the price, first model on the graph. But it's not true. Price can sometimes be damaging. Now, I'm going to share this slide with you guys. And tell me what's wrong with this pricing. What's wrong with this pricing? Let me see who is able to give me the answer. A note is that section B took something like 6 attempts. That means 6 of them tried out and then finally they got the idea. So what do you think is wrong with this pricing? Harshdeep Kaur, I want you to take a shot at it. Kavita, I want you to try it. I totally will be happy with your wrong answer.
Professor, this is Chinmay here.
Yeah.
My question, I think the first thing that comes to the mind is why is a double tone milk cheaper than a tone milk?
Okay. Ignore that.
Sir, curd and milk are both of the same price.
Ignore.
Sir, all the types are increased by 2 rupees.
Ignore.
Professor, very difficult to remember these prices. I mean, 21, it's all odd.
Money content start going on the same direction a little bit nicer. Think a little bit more.
Not a round figure and all that. It's very difficult to remember these prices.
No, money content, you are almost there.
So is it like a 99 pricing strategy? Like 99 pricing strategy? Like,
No. How many? Okay, now money content, have you ever gone and brought milk? Who's that?
Yes.
Okay, you brought milk. Very good.
Yes.
What problem did you face?
Nandini milk variety, but it has Shubham milk.
No, wrong thinking.
Difficult to.
No, somebody else was trying. Who's that?
Deepika here, sir. So there is a problem in keeping change with you if you want to buy one packet. So probably you will end up buying as per the necessity.
Very good, Deepika. Very good. What will happen is, earlier you carried a 20 rupee note and you had to give 19 rupees. The guy may tell you, I don't have 1 rupee. And you may say, he can keep it. Now, you are supposed to carry 21 rupees and most likely you're going to carry 10s and 20s and 50s. And he's not going to give you change. And he's not going to let go that 1 rupee that he is going to earn. And we have a problem. Right? Agreed, everybody?
Yeah, but from a marketing perspective, that will be a good sign for the business.
Bad sign. I would rather go and buy milk which is somewhere else. I have a disgruntled customer. The problem with Nandini is the customer is disgruntled because he has to carry 1 rupee change. The distributor is disgruntled because he cannot give away that 1 rupee every time. The old price was great for the distributor because he always pocketed 1 more rupee extra. What Nandini should have done is, instead of 500 ml, they should have reduced 500 ml to 440 ml and made it at 20 rupees so that the whole process is nicer. That's the point I was trying to mention, right? So what's the time? So it's just another 4 minutes. Okay, 4 minutes, a long way to go. I have a few more things to discuss. We'll take it up in the next class. But before I go there, are you guys, did you get my viewpoint on the pricing strategy?
Sir, I agree, Professor. I agree to your point, but the problem is it is very subjective to what we are discussing, or we can say we haven't taken a better example over here, because milk is something very necessary. It won't have a great impact on your when you are changing your pricing. It will comes into a picture when you have altogether a different kind of product or a service you're offering. But when it comes to milk, I don't think so. It plays an important impact. Secondly, the type of example we are using or giving, it's I believe, it's my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, it's very subjective to people if they are buying 1 packet or 5 packet or 10 packets.
Right. No. There are no two, obviously open to opinion change. But why I brought this up is that pricing matters. Pricing matters. It's not just the product. Pricing matters. Why would you be excited at $14.99? $14.99 gives you a visual feel of 1400.
Like the Bata prices, sir.
Yes, please.
Like the Bata prices, which
Like
end
the
with
Bata price,
9.
like the Bata price. So it gives you a feel of that, of a feeling that here it causes dispute, it causes confusion, it causes disparity among the thought process. That's the point that I was trying to tell you, is that what is happening is there's a disgrunt that is going on. Youngsters, UPI mode, that is there. There's no doubt about it. That you may even buy a coupon. You might even Soundarya, you can even buy a coupon and pay him later on. But the point is sometimes you don't price your product. For example, I'll give you one other example. I have a coffee shop next to my house. They have 10 rupee coffee. And one fine day, he decided to make it 12 rupees. Well, we had to tell him that 12 rupees is pain. You should have made it 15 rupees. So he says 15 rupees, I will not be able to bring a customer. At 12 rupees, the customer is holding up the queue. He's waiting there. The guy has to give change and all the things. So while there is no one answer to a problem, I totally understand alternate viewpoints. That's brilliant. That's very nice. Whatever you were saying, I couldn't hear your name. I couldn't see your name where you questioned this. That's brilliant. That's the way communication, and that's the way challenges are addressed. But the point I'm trying to say is you have to pay so much of importance to pricing. Otherwise, let's say I price my product at 5,015. There's a problem, because at up to 5,000, I can do a waive on my credit card. I can just waive the card and I can walk out, because now they have increased it from 2,000 to 5,000. Maybe I will have to learn. I could have made it 4,999, and then I can have quicker checkout of customers. So that is the point I'm saying. And further on, when we talk about pricing, you will understand what is a term called willingness to pay. Isn't it odd pricing to confuse and lure customers to buy more? Yeah, all the time you're pricing your product. But then we'll stop for now. I want Anuradha to trigger this conversation in the next class, and we'll take it forward from there. Perfect. Good. Past 4:30, I've been taking the class from 9:30, so I'm reasonably exhausted. You guys have been sitting in the class. So go enjoy whatever is left of your Saturday. And of course, you have class tomorrow. I am a free bird.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor, for your
Thank you. Deepika, were you wanting to ask a question?
Yes, Professor. I was thinking to ask about the presentation, what we are supposed to submit for the Netflix. You asked us for a Zoom video recording, but how much time it is supposed to be? That's what the question was. And we are already sending one PPT. So the content and the Zoom presentation need to be same, or else it should be overlapped. It should be a debate type or a discussion type. How the attire should be when we are giving the presentation. Things like this.
Have you looked at the questions?
Yes, Professor.
In the questions, have I mentioned whom you are addressing?
We are actually a group.
No.
It is mentioned.
Yeah, for example, you are addressing an investor, you are addressing a board, you are investing a customer, you're investing somebody, something like that is there, no?
Correct.
So yeah, so you must tune yourself to that, and you take it seriously. So you have to be formally dressed.
Okay.
And all the members of your team should speak.
Okay.
And if you believe that one case study for 10 of you is going to be tough and there's going to be trouble, your team can pick up another case study arbitrarily, whichever you want, and share it among themselves.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
But the idea, Deepika, is let's take the case of Deepika. Is Deepika good in slide presentation, or is Deepika able to come and stand in front of a Zoom camera and speak? Is Deepika fumbling? Is Deepika just simply reading what is there on the slide? Why would I want Deepika to present if what is there on the slide? I can read faster. I have taken special, I'm just joking, of course. I'm taken special courses for fast reading. I can read a PPT in 1 second. So what is Deepika supposed to do? Just read or use the slide for as a prop for her to make the presentation? Has she understood the subject? That's the point that I'm trying to look at.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof.
Okay, good. Take care. Enough now.
Good day ahead, Professor.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Bye. Questions next week.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor.